Every so often, an event comes along so rare that it shocks us to our very core, combining entertainment, intricate knowledge, charisma, and devilishly good looks.
Boring!
Man, shut up and talk hoops. All right, well, let's kick it off. First episode of Old Head Hoops.
Episode 1. Go.
We finally did it, bro. We finally did it.
From a little dream, a little brain fart of an idea that turns out into all of this. Fucking.
Bro, this was a passion project of mine for a long time. I've always wanted to do it. I'm a massive consumer of pods, internet, any kind of content I can find. And there came a time when, especially during the off season, I was desperately trying to find basketball pods, like just going through top 10s. I'd be searching top 10 players of all time, top 10 rookies, top 10 drafts. Bill Simmons, and this is going to be my first Bill Simmons fanboy drop. He is the man. He is the pod father. And in the off season, he is awesome about doing these all-time lists.
Yep.
Redrafting, stuff like that. That's the kind of shit that I'm into.
Done.
And unfortunately, there's not a lot of that out there. Not a lot of Aussie guys doing it either. And there was just a niche. And then after a while, it just became in my head, why am I out there searching for this kind of content?
Make your own.
Why am I not out there just fucking creating the shit?
Yeah, absolutely, bro.
So just for full disclosure for the people listening and watching, me and Mus were very, very close friends, best friends from the age of 12 till 24.
Yep.
And then had a good 2 decades plus where we were kind of Facebook friends but weren't seeing each other. And so my basketball pod idea, there was a lot of gaps. I didn't really know how it was going to work, how it was going to play out without somebody who knows the game like I do, loves the game like I do, and we've got that history. So in my head, I was kind of like, well, I'll do a solo show, but I fucking hate solo shows. No offense to the guys out there who do them. I can only listen to them for 5 or 10 minutes, and then I'm like, you guys need somebody to bounce off.
Bro, you need the banter. You need someone to challenge you. You need to be able to engage. And the only way that works is when you have a duo that thinks the same and understands the game.
Yeah. So I thought we'd just use this pod to have a little bit of an intro to us and who we are, what we're going to be doing with the pod moving forward. So I'll start.
Go for it, bro. Go for it.
All right, my name's Clay, obviously. This is my main man, Mus, 4Ms. I'm 47 years old, live in Australia, married, 2 grown-up kids, and absolutely love the game of basketball. And for my career, I'm a FIFO worker, so I have a tremendous amount of time to give to the game. Now,
bastard.
I joke about it all the time, but I'm on average 50 hours a week in the off season, and probably during the season, I'm consuming easily 80 to 90 hours a week.
That's including watching games, reading shit, podcasts, the whole lot.
Yeah, highlight packages. I spend at least 8 to 10 hours a day with podcasts.
I'm not sure you want to confess that, bro.
Well, I'm allowed to. I'm a machine operator, man. So most of it is happening on work time, which is awesome. And then, of
Gina
course,
Reinhardt, just ignore that, please.
first thing I do in the morning when I wake up, ESPN, like first thing. On the bus, checking all the websites, the Ringer, all the ones that I love. And yeah, during the day, basketball pods, lunchtime, checking the highlights, more internet stuff, nighttime, come back into my room, have a shower, talk to the wife, watch a game or watch a highlights package of the games. And this is just rinse and repeat.
You're a fucking sponge, bro.
And so this is going to bleed into us, but we started watching the game pretty seriously in around 1991, I would say, would be the real firm first year.
Well, it coincided with being able to get games telecast free to air on Channel 10, right?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Well, before we go there, who are you?
No, thank you.
Who the fuck are you sitting in my chair?
Well, it's a very comfortable chair, Clay, and I appreciate the invitation to be part of this pod. Mate, it's a great freaking idea, and I love to talk about basketball nonstop. So I'm Mus, like Clay said, been his best mate for a very, very long time. our formative years. We grew up together. One of the key passions and our shared love was basketball, playing, watching, absorbing as much as possible. Buying Basketball Today, was it called?
Yeah, Pro Basketball
Pro
Today.
Basketball Today, and reading that from page to page, sharing the same bloody, because I was too cheap to buy my own copy, grabbing your...
And bro, that was before the internet too.
Yeah.
I don't think people understand that are watching the game now. We would get box scores that were
A week old.
Yeah, a week to 10 days old, and you're just trying to catch up on what players have done.
Yeah.
We've come a long way since then.
And hanging for Saturday afternoons, I think about 11, 12 o'clock was NBA. The NBA, one game would get a week, and then NBA Countdown, which was fucking awesome. And we used to watch that religiously. To tell you the truth, I think I maybe have a couple of VHS tapes of recordings of countdowns, especially the top 10s of the year, assists, blocks, snugs, steals, and just the general plays of the year for, well, how many seasons? From 91 till about 95, 96, 97. Oh, yeah. So myself, father of 3 kids under 10, very much involved in basketball. I've kind of forced it upon the kids. The kids play, I coach. Watching as much as possible, but obviously my time's limited. I don't have the spare time that you have. A lawyer by trade, and in essence, I am very, very busy, but I do make time for basketball because it is the sport that I absolutely love and obsessed with, both NBA, international, NBL, and even on the domestic level here in Perth, WA. So I absorb as much as possible, but I love the ground roots. Now, I'm more of an X and O man than yourself.
Definitely, being the coach.
Yeah, I love that stuff. So I appreciate the college game a lot. Not necessarily the teams, but how the game is played. So I take a lot away from that. And, my frustrations when I see the game being played what I believe is the wrong way, fucking pisses me off. But that's okay. We can get into that as we chat away about basketball. Love the NBA, obviously, in the formative years, MJ years, the 80s, the 90s, going into the 2000s. My issues with the games from the 10s onwards, but that's okay.
3-pointers.
The volume 3-pointers, the bad 3-pointers drives me nuts, but I will delve into my hatred for that when I think the game should be played in a completely different way. One of my key memories of us watching basketball in particular, not playing, but watching, was I think the 1993 or 94 NBL Grand Final, Perth Wildcats versus the Melbourne Tigers. We're watching the game at my place. It was game 3. It was tied. And for those who don't know the NBL, back in those days, it was a 3-game Grand Final series. The Melbourne Tigers had never won. The Wildcats had come off their 2 championships. And I remember watching and thinking, yep, the Wildcats are going to get this game. It goes down to the wire. The Wildcats have come back. Andrew Vlahoff, Mark Bradkey dominating the game. Andrew Gaze, Leonard Copeland versus Ricky Grace. It's one of the best games I've ever seen. And I just remember we needed a 3 to win. Andrew Vlahoff from outside the key after a rebound that got tipped out by James Crawford, catches it, elevates, fires the 3, and it fucking rims out. Now,
you love to fucking hurt me, don't you? What is the meaning of this?
Well, I just want to say the passion and the pain I felt as a, 13, 14-year-old kid, sharing it with my best mate at my place, watching it on one of those old-style TVs, captivated by what was happening on the screen, and wishing that the Wildcats will get up. By the way, we are Wildcats fans, being Perth-based, and seeing the raw emotion of that 3-point shot rimming out, and then seeing the raw emotion of Andrew Gaze hugging his dad with their first championship, and us crying by the sidelines as we just lost a grand final. Looking back on it now, I appreciate what it meant for the Melbourne Tigers and for basketball in general, because Melbourne had never won a championship at that point. But fuck, it hurt.
And Gaze is the GOAT.
He is the GOAT, Australian GOAT. So undisputed GOAT. No one will ever come close. And it was really rewarding seeing him win his first premiership, just not against the Wildcats.
So would it be fair to say that you were an NBL fan before NBA?
100%. Yeah. So because it was live, because we could see those players, and plus at that time, the Perth Wildcats, and for those who know a bit of AFL, and the West Coast Eagles were the premier teams in WA. You couldn't walk down the street without seeing, a big black dude like Tiny Pinder or James Crawford or Ricky Grace.
Didn't end well.
No, it didn't end well for Pinder,
yes.
Even though he was a great player.
Yeah, look it up on the
We can have a whole podcast talking about that. So we were immersed in it. Those boys even came to our schools, you remember, and did drills and everything
James
else.
Crawford had the sports store at Mirrabooka.
Sports store, yeah. We just pop in there, looking at all the shoes and stuff. So my love of basketball, the sport itself is fucking awesome. I mean, it's a game that has everyone on court involved. Whilst there are fixed positions, it didn't prohibit anyone from any height, weight, speed, whatever, to be able to play the game and be effective. So I love it from that aspect. Obviously, the more athletic you are and the more tall you are, the game is easier generally. But slow guys who can, understand the game with high IQ can be extremely effective. And I appreciate that too. So being under 6 foot, both of us, it didn't mean and prohibited us from being effective on the court against competition on our level. But what it did mean is that we could get into the sport on all levels. Watching, playing, engaging, absorbing as much information as possible, and then continually debating and having conversations about the game, which, just gets the juices flowing.
Now, I remember my first exposure to basketball because I grew up in Karratha, like a small country town, spent basically my primary school years there. In the 80s, it was only AFL and cricket. Like, nobody was talking about basketball. Nobody was even thinking about basketball. Yeah. We had a court at our school, but it was one of those fold-away rims, and it was always pushed back against the fence and used as a tennis court. I'd never even shot a basketball. And I remember one time, I was probably about 10 years old, the hoop happened to be pulled out, and there was a ball on the court, and I just remember shooting and shooting and shooting and then getting angry at myself for not making it. And then once I made one, I'm like, fuck yeah, right.
Game on.
Now you can't leave the court until you've made 3 in a row. And then I make 3 in a row, and it's like, well, you can't leave the court until you've made 10 shots in total. And I just kept playing. I thought, yeah, this game's all right. And I remember telling my dad about it, and he's like, you're the wrong color and you're too short. And I'm like, okay, man, yeah, cool. Because basketball back then was like a sissy sport. It was on the same level. Like for my family, basketball was the same as netball.
Yeah, because everyone thought it was non-contact, right?
Yeah, there was no difference, and it just didn't have a profile here in Australia. And back then, we only had ABC. We didn't even have GWN, the country network.
Now, ABC had games though, didn't they?
ABC used to have in the late 80s, right? I think it was on a Saturday.
Don Lane.
He did the college ball as well.
That's right.
But they used to show the highlights of the first half of a game, like a 10-minute splice highlight, and then you get the full second half of the game. Now, the first game I ever watched was when I was staying at a friend's house down south, and he put this game on. He's going, you got to watch this guy, Michael Jordan. And this was 1989.
Yeah.
They played the Bulls versus Pistons. And I remember watching this first half, and because my knowledge of the game was so rudimentary, I expected Jordan to be the biggest guy on the court. I'm like, how can you not be this dominant if you're just this skinny, like mid-sized guy on the court? And I remember looking at him being completely underwhelmed, going, this guy, like, what the fuck?
Here is this guy.
And then obviously, like, just dominated the game, and I still wasn't hooked. But that was I remember that game like it was yesterday. It was my first exposure to the game, but it was enough to whet the appetite.
Yep.
So between 89, which obviously I met you in 89, between 89 and 91, there was that 2-year gap where it was just starting to build.
Yep.
I do remember sort of following it loosely when the Bulls won their first title. So that was 1990-91.
And that coincided with the Wildcats winning their first title too.
Yeah. So it was all kind of like, it was all building.
Yep.
The culture behind the game was building. Jordan had just broken through with his first title against Magic, and then was about to go into his season where he took out Portland.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that too.
Yeah. So I'd say between that first exposure in 89 and 91 is where it really just started to build pretty rapidly. And then the game started to build quite rapidly as well, actually playing the game. It's probably like the 92 Olympics where it really went apeshit.
Yeah, that solidified it really, didn't it? So for those who don't know, the 1992 Dream Team, the first time ever, I think, in America,
that professional
players were coming along. I remember the build up to that particular Olympics, and obviously following the Boomer squad and an opportunity for them. But all the hype was around what the hell would this American team do? Obviously, at that point, the NBA was the pinnacle, and there was hardly any European or international players playing. You could count them on your
Barcelonas, Divac, yeah, there was fuck all.
There's fuck all, right? Yeah. And then this team was pulled together, and around that time, basketball in Perth in particular was also taking off, both playing at the grassroots level, but also with the Wildcats and the NBL, the Boomers squad, and then looking at it from into an Olympics, and Olympics got that worldwide sort of coverage of it all, and obviously led by MJ's rise, phenomenal rise in international stardom at that point, I think there was even talk that he was the greatest player of all time, even before he did everything.
Yeah.
So, and I remember
leading up into the Olympics, he was back-to-back champion.
He was.
I think by that point he might have had 2 or 3 MVPs.
How many scoring titles? 5?
Oh shit, he won 10 in a row. So
would have 5 by then.
That would have, at least minimum.
And I still think there was the mocker on him that he was a ball hog and all of that at the time. And to tell you the truth, I will put my hand up. I would still say at that point in time, my thinking around it was, nah, he's not a team player because of just the volume shooting.
We all have faults. We all have faults.
I would stand corrected now. But I remember watching the game and thinking, fuck, he takes a lot of shots. Now, he hits a lot of shots too, and he hits a lot in clutch. But I just remember this was a different way of playing for games anyway. I mean, most of the other teams would share the ball around, and it was unheard of guys scoring, 35 per game. It was averages was around 20 for your superstar, or 25. I mean, look at Magic, for instance. I mean, he only had different type of player, but he only averaged about 22 points a game in his best years.
Yeah.
So seeing Jordan go out there, the volume shooter, the one who, tended to take it upon himself and then shoot, 30 shots a game or whatever, was like, nah, I don't know. I don't know if he's effective if he doesn't shoot that much. Stand corrected. But yeah, that was my view at that time. And my views on who I thought was a better player and reasons why, which to some degree, I'm happy to have that argument. I'm sure I lose it, but I'm happy to have the argument.
So 91, 92, I think might have been the first year in Australia that we had NBA action. So for me, my childhood memories of sitting over your place in your lounge room, folding your fucking pamphlets that you had your part-time job with. So we'd all just be sitting there with our legs out in a V shape with pamphlets in front of us, folding with pieces of wood to get the fold nice and
the crease had to be right, yeah.
And just sitting there watching NBA action.
Yep.
And it was usually followed by a game. So we would always on a Saturday have NBA action in a game. Bill Wood, Steve Carfino. Steve Carfino is one of our imports in the National League over here.
The Magic Man.
The Magic Man, as you just reminded me of. And that was just amazing.
It was.
And as I said to you the other day, man, you got to think about what that 91, 92, 93 region was. I mean, you had the explosion of hip hop that was happening. It was changing the culture. It was sort of infiltrating into the NBA. It was kind of moving away from a business style suits into more of like a hip hop sort of urban style of game.
Yep.
And there was a lot more kind of street ball elements coming into the game. Mm-hmm. So you had the hip hop, you had the fashion. I mean, the baggy jeans. I remember having the baggy jeans over in Australia. I'm not sure if they were in America, but we had the cross-colored jeans.
Cross-colored, yeah.
Yeah, the 26 reds.
Cross-colors with the hypercolor shirt.
Yeah, man. And the hairstyles, like the flat top with the fringe that folded right over the back. Yeah, it was pretty crazy. It was just the perfect time. Yeah. And in 92, we would have been sort of 14, 15.
How could you not, as an impressionable young teenager, not be caught up in all of it?
Oh, bro, you got Jordan dominating the NBA. You've got Tupac and Biggie doing their thing, and the hip hop scene. It was just, Spike Lee making his movies. It was pretty crazy time. Mm. And then the Olympics happened, and the NBA just exploded.
Just took off.
And the NBA was so fucking watchable then. I mean, you think about the iconic players and the teams, the uniforms. When I first got into the league, I was just fascinated with the uniforms of Orlando and Charlotte. And they're the 2 expansion teams, but I just fucking couldn't.
You remember? That's when the shorts started to get a bit longer too.
Yeah, man. They needed to. They needed to.
Fuck those footy shorts, eh?
Yeah, fuck Stockton and shit off. But yeah, man, I just loved that teal uniform, and by extension, Grandmama. You owned a pair of Grandmama, the Converse.
I did the Aeroglides.
Aeroglides. Did you have the teal?
I did.
So you had the black with the teal.
Yeah, they were fucking cool shoes, bro.
They weren't very comfy though.
No, but they were light as. They were the lightest basketball shoes I ever wore.
So you got them first, and then I remember going out shopping for them, and I was trying to get the black with the teal writing. They had fucking none left. So I had to go for the purple lettering.
Yeah.
Wasn't happy about it, but I think
Beggars can't be choosers.
I made out some bullshit that I just kind of got it as a way to differentiate myself from you. But yeah, man.
But don't forget the addition into pop culture too. That's when basketball games on your it would have been the PlayStation. Would have been the Commodore 64, I think, and the Commodore 128.
Yeah, you had a 128.
Yeah.
Didn't you?
And the games that we used to play over and over again.
Yeah.
Jordan versus Bird.
And I had a Game Boy as well, and I think there was a Tom Chambers. Tom fucking Chambers had his own game.
Granted, the man did score 50 in a game, though.
And he dunked all the fuck over Mark Jackson.
Oh, so that's one of the iconic dunks of all time, right?
Man. Yeah. Hit him with his fucking knee in the chest and kept going up. Yeah.
2 hands.
But if you think about those teams, man, like Seattle. Yep. Seattle were one of the coolest fucking teams out there. Peyton, Kemp,
yep.
Detlef. It was just a great team. McMillan was the captain back then, but yeah, they were just cool as fuck. Kemp was just unreal. Just the way he dunked, his swag.
Was Del Curry on that team too?
No, Del Curry was Charlotte.
Charlotte, that's right. Yeah.
Charlotte. Yeah, they had Pierce, I think, was their sharpshooter.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, but just what a team. And, of course, Charlotte. I mean, Bogues, Curry, Morning, Johnson, Kendall Gill. And before them, it was Rex Chapman, who, you got to love a white guy who can spring.
And the white man could shoot too.
Yeah,
Rex
man.
Was a decent player.
Yeah. He would have been good in this era. But what about... Oh, actually, I'll go back to it. I used to love going to Jim Kidd on the weekends. That was another thing that sort of happened in that 90s. We would just fucking go to Jim Kidd for no reason and just walk around the shop.
Look at the shoes.
Looking at shoes, hats, like the starters' jackets. The fashion was just fucking awesome back then. Now,
in the initiation into basketball boots, obviously the Jordans were the ones, right? There was a flow on everyone else. And it was a good time because that was when signature shoes were coming out. Players were signing deals with signature shoes. Jordan started it off with his Jordan range. And I remember getting and seeing the Jordan 5s, the black with the silver.
Did you own one of them?
I did, but I didn't own them straight away. I got them as a second run. But I remember sitting there begging my parents to buy these shoes for me. And they were $120, the most expensive basketball shoes. Nah, my old man was going, I'm not spending that much on a basketball shoes. You don't even play that often. What the hell? And I'm like, come on, this would make my life complete. These are the shoes I need.
I never even fucking owned a pair of Jordans. Can you believe it? I've been toying with the idea of getting a pair now.
Yeah.
But I'm just worried I don't have the cred to pull it off at fucking nearly 48.
Surely you do now, bro.
I don't give a fuck anyway. I don't give a fuck. I figure that the beard gives me some kind of cred.
100%.
And I can just go with the shoes and equalize it out.
And that sneaker culture, that's when it started, bro. That's really, I mean, everyone loved their shoes, but don't forget, that's when the NBA shifted from Converse really into the Nike and Adidas really targeting players and saying, we want you to have signature shoes. That kicked off 92, 91, around then.
Yeah.
And then it just went nuts.
Well, I used to get $20 a week pocket money, and I used to save that bitch until I could afford a pair of shoes.
Yeah.
So I didn't give a fuck about what pants I'd get around in or T-shirts. As long as I had the kicks, I was happy.
Shorts could have holes in them. T-shirt could be fucking shit. Doesn't matter so long as you had your kicks, right?
Yeah, and we were lucky because we were going over to Singapore and to Asian countries a lot on my dad's R&Rs, and I was buying a lot of shit from overseas. Do you remember the David Robinson Nike Air pumps?
I remember the Nike Air pumps. I didn't know David Robinson.
Yeah, David Robinson was I don't know whether they were a signature shoe for him or whether he was just a spokesman, but they were, I think, $300 and you're talking about like 1992. They were $300.
So, and you got a pair. I remember you did get a pair.
I got them in Singapore. So instead of the Reebok pumps, which had the pump at the front on the tongue, these ones had a pump at the side, and it was a dual chamber. So it had a little switch that you pushed forward, and it would pump it up around under the bottom of your foot.
Yep.
And then you pull it back, and it would pump it around your ankles. And then it had a teal green button in the middle, which you pressed to release the air. And what do you think motherfuckers would do on the bus? Come up behind me, let the air out, you fucking. But yeah.
So that was obviously so D Brown slam dunk contest. He was the first one to wear the Reebok pumps, actually going down and pumping them up in front of everyone.
I think that was 1990 or 91. He was a rookie.
Okay, so that's what that
was. For Boston.
Yeah, for Boston. And he won the Grand Slam.
He won, with the no look
dunk.
But he was the first one kicking the pumps. But Reebok really struggled to gain any footing. I mean, Shaq was a Reebok guy.
Yep.
but people weren't buying shoes from big men. You know what I mean? They're not the best spokesman for the shoe culture.
Which is strange, right? Because you kind of think they're the ones who need the best shoes and best support possible, but it just, no. You couldn't compete with those guys who flew through the air and were going crazy,
Yeah,
right?
fuck yeah. Now, just flipping a little bit, do you remember US Gear?
Yes.
That clothing shop?
Yeah.
Well, they had a shop in the city and just underneath the food forum there, and they had a little bootleg VHS hiring service, right?
I do recall this, yes.
So I used to go there and hire games. So it'd be, and I got a lot of college games. I was right in my college in that 90s period as well. So I'd go and get these college games, hire them, NBA games, hire them, and then we had the dual VHS recorder. So I would play and record at the same time. Dude, I'm
sure that's illegal.
Bro, I've still got probably 50 or 60 videos.
You got to digitize all that, bro.
My best ones I'm gonna. But I've got a lot of like Duke and North Carolina games and Arkansas games.
Time and all of that.
Yeah, man. Yeah, from the Grant Hill days. And real early like Ray Allen, Connecticut games as well from college. Yeah, I've got some of the UNLV running Rebels from LJ.
Dodgiest college team of all time.
But yeah, I just remember going into the city, and the city was a big thing, man. Like just catch the bus in, just fucking hang out in the sports stores, looking at shit, buying hats. I remember the first hat I ever bought was a Bulls hat. You bought a Portland hat at the same time.
I've still got that hat.
Have you?
I've still got that hat. I use it out in the garden these days.
Man, it's got some fucking old DNA on that shit,
does, man.
Yeah, but and then going to US Gear and just hiring my games. And man, I pretty much, I would say, because I would call myself a loose fan from 90 to 92.
Loose fan of basketball
NBA.
or the NBA? Yeah, okay.
But from the 92 onwards, I became absolutely fucking obsessed with the game. Like,
agreed.
Obsessed.
Yeah.
And that coincided with Jordan's final year and the 92 rookie class. Right?
Well, this is the golden era of the NBA, right?
Shaquille O'Neal. I remember going to the newsagent and they had a magazine. It wasn't Slam. It was just some piece of shit magazine that didn't have a name I can remember. But on the cover was Shaq in his Orlando uniform, and it said, "Here comes the Shaq attack." And I'm like,
who the fuck is this?
Who the fuck is this? So I started reading, and that was not only my introduction to Shaq, but that was my like come to Jesus moment where I was like, holy fuck, like I've got to follow this league very closely, and I've got to follow what these rookies are doing.
You remember buying the preseason magazines where there was the Sporting Tribune, Sporting News? It wasn't Slam. It was a whole range of what you get now on the NBA before a season starts. You know, the whole magazine of that, the stats, career stats of players,
the rosters for the coming season.
I used to buy that magazine and laminate it, so that would be my almanac for the whole year.
That's intense, bro.
Oh, man. Because that's the only way you can get the info.
But yeah, and they were thick as fuck. Like, I would live by that thing,
150 pages of everything on every team.
That was my Bible for the upcoming
You know what
year.
shit me off, though? Because back in the day, you didn't really know how trades happened and everything else. You're like, oh, this is team set for the whole year. Halfway through, a trade happens, and you're looking at going, what the fuck? This makes no sense for my fucking magazine anymore. Start writing in where players go and shit just to keep a track of what was happening. Oh, man. God, kids these days with the internet, you've got it easy, I swear. We fucking have to work hard for that.
Yeah, exactly. And all of our news was old and secondhand. But it was enough. It was enough to get us through. And
shows you dedication. We fucking worked hard to get the information that we needed.
Well, you had to. It wasn't all at your fingertips. These fucking kids today.
Don't complain.
Yeah, cannot complain. All right. Let's have a look what we got here. So then from the 92 season, that was a bad year for you, man.
Oh.
So let's talk about our early players.
All right. So
early players and early teams.
This is the confession I have. Portland Trailblazers, which were one of the best teams in the league at the time. My favorite player, Clyde the Glide Drexler.
Now tell me why the fuck your favorite player, as you're just entering this amazing era of basketball, why is your favorite player the 47-year-old Clyde Drexler? Why?
Yeah, he went prematurely bald, but he kept the mo, so he always looked like he was 40 years old the whole time throughout his career. Two things, man, he was athletic as fuck. This guy, in today's game, I don't even know what the comparison is, but
There really isn't.
There really isn't, because the athleticism, the ball handling, the ability to be able to take off from anywhere on the court and slam that fucking through.
But he had a very unique style of athleticism where it was twitchy and explosive, but it was also really smooth.
Yeah, it was smooth. He loved his three ball much more than he should have, because he wasn't a great 3-point shooter. He did hit clutch threes, but he led that Portland team. So that Portland team they were the second coming of kind of like your bad boys, but was able to play the game instead of trying to degenerate the game into a war. Get them out in the open court, and they were the best team. Flying down the court, Porter throwing those alley-oops, Buck Williams doing the dirty work, Jerome Cozy on the other.
Duckworth,
Lemani in the middle. And then Cliff Robinson joined them later on and everything else. So that team, I remember watching, and I saw them destroy the LA Lakers. I don't think it was in the finals. It was just most probably a regular season game. And Clyde went off for 35 and 10 dunks in that 35. And straight away I said, but the one thing I loved about him, he was unselfish. He passed the ball. So this is the distinction between him and Jordan. And straight away I said, Portland, that's my team. Magic then was, probably the biggest superstar, just as Jordan was coming in. And obviously Magic had the cred with the MVPs and the championships before him. And when I saw Portland destroy that team, I was like, okay, this is the second. This team's going to go on a dynasty here. Lo and behold, I was fucking wrong about that. But looking at it at that point, looking into where they were getting to, and they most probably should have won a couple along the way, Clyde cemented himself as the man. And for the next 10 years, I would have arguments with everyone about why Clyde was better than Michael, why Clyde deserved more. And now I look back on that, and
that was a fucking very strange argument.
It was, I know.
But to be fair, I wasn't like, you're a Clyde guy. I would take the Jordan side just to piss you off, but I wasn't even really a Jordan guy growing up. I mean, obviously, just fucking unreal.
Yeah.
But I would never say that he was one of my probably top even 3 players at the time.
Oh, you got to name names now.
At the time. I mean, I was Shaq. Like, when Shaq came in, I just couldn't believe what the fuck I was seeing. Like, straight away, came out 24 and 12, all-star starter, rookie of the year. I mean, can you imagine if somebody...
Don't forget what he did for the Orlando team. They went from fucking 20 wins to 40-something or...
And then won the number 1 pick in the draft again. Yes. How the fuck?
That's a whole podcast too. Should they have traded or should they have kept the pick? Should they,
let's not talk about Penny. You're gonna make me cry. But yeah, I was a Shaq guy through and through. Can you imagine if somebody came into the league now, a center, came into the league now and averaged like 24 and 13 with 3 blocks?
Straight off the bat.
What would we be saying?
Oh, you say that's the man's going to be the GOAT for the next 10 years, right?
Guys generally don't come in and dominate like that anymore. And he did it, and he had that smile and that swagger, and he was fucking rapping, and he was acting. He'd been in Blue Chips.
And he loved being on the court. You could, the man, so don't get me wrong, he was a mean motherfucker, right? But he was on court, and he'd have this aura about him that I love playing this game. Let's have a bit of fun, and I'm going to dominate your ass throughout the whole thing.
Yeah. He was kind of like, he had kind of Dwight Howard's demeanor, but with 100% more fuck you and smash mouth when he needed to. Yeah. But yeah, he was having fun off the court, and it was just such a...
Shaq Diesel, so the rapping.
Yeah, Foosh Nickens, he was rapping with them, and he had a few albums, and
the movie. When did he do Shazam? That was his
Yeah,
first
we're not going
movie,
to talk about Shazam. But Blue Chips remains maybe the best basketball movie of all time.
Ooh.
It's got to be up there with, He Got Game, Above the Rim, White Man Can't Jump, of course.
Yes.
That's kind of
the original.
Game.
Yeah, but still it's pretty good.
You haven't watched the fucking remake, have you?
I have.
Oh, man. How bad was it?
Look, it's enjoyable because it is a basketball movie, so anything associated with basketball is pretty good from my perspective, but
pretty bad.
It's not the same. It's not even close.
No. And it doesn't... What was the Latino girl's name?
Rosie Perez.
Rosie Perez, yeah.
You had a thing for Rosie, didn't you?
Well, don't know about the voice, but the rest of it
she was sexy as fuck.
Pretty tidy. Pretty fucking tidy. All right. Other favourite players. Apart from Clyde, who did you like watching?
Oh, Hakeem. So Hakeem, there wasn't a player, and you don't realise that he's not even 7 foot, right? But he played that centre position. And I remember some of the stuff in college, because obviously him and Clyde went to Houston, best mates, and his ability to play both ends of the floor. So dominate you on the offensive end, shut you down on the defensive end, playing on pretty good Houston teams that were doing really good, especially when they had Ralph Sampson getting where they got to with that team. But his whole ability, both athletic and footwork, that has never been matched.
Crazy. Crazy.
The man with the ball and without the ball, and before he even took a dribble, most probably had scared the shit out of most centers in the league because they didn't know what he was going to do and how he was going to do it. And then they'd turn around between all of his fucking dream shakes and all that sort of shit, be looking around, where the fuck is he? And he's already scored. And then on the defensive end, still career leader in blocks, if I'm not wrong. Hakeem Olajuwon?
Well, yeah, because they started.
A bit later on. Yeah.
They didn't start until after your Wilt and your Russell era.
Yeah. And Wemby's going to get it eventually, I would think now. The way he's going.
You'd think so, but the block is kind of like less of a thing, but he's smashing it so far this year.
Yes, I think he will get it.
So Hakeem, there's a lot of conjecture over his height. I've heard him in an interview say that he's 6'9".
He's not fucking 6'6". He's sort of 6'11" or 6'10", isn't he?
I'd be saying 6'10", but I'd love to know what his wingspan is because his arms were fucking like so long.
And you know what? He had 3-point range.
If he was playing in today's game,
he'd be knocking that down.
He probably would have shot at least a couple a game.
Correct.
Just to keep him honest. But yeah, his defensive timing, his footwork. I mean, it's only him and McHale. That's got to be the top 2 levels of footwork ever.
And the problem with McHale was it did look a little bit untidy.
It's fucking clunky.
Yeah, correct. With Hakeem, it looks smooth as fuck. Yeah. And I've never seen him travel in all the games that I watched him play, but also he never looked out of control.
He moved like a guard.
100%. Yeah.
And, obviously growing up as a soccer goalie, I mean, that's where it all came from. And Steve Nash has said the same thing. Yeah. Soccer majorly contributed to his footwork.
That's one game you have to have good footwork. You can't play soccer without having good footwork.
But you look at the guys around him at the time. Ewing was very McHale-ish, like very, very clunky, very methodical. Great player. But just not as fluid. Like,
most probably a better shooter, mid-range shooter, I would say, giving that.
He was just automatic from 15 to 18, just automatic. But Hakeem just had like not only the footworks and the spins, but the ball fakes. He just put players in the spin cycle, man.
He was a great passer too. He was a fucking awesome
Not early
passer.
in his career. You talk about black holes with Jordan, well, fucking Hakeem wasn't much better. But yeah, though, I mean, obviously Houston had their run with Sampson and then played Boston. In the finals. Was that 86?
Be about there. 85, 86. They went back to back then, didn't they? 85, 86.
I think it was 86 they won against Houston.
Yeah. That's when Houston took out the Lakers, right?
And then kind of didn't play that well. Oh, no, sorry. Houston didn't play that well. Kind of irrelevant for a while. Just like a middling team.
Yeah, their team didn't have a lot of talent after that. Sampson went down and everything else. So Hakeem still put up fucking awesome numbers, but just didn't have the team around him.
I think at one stage he was asking for a trade out of there.
He did.
Luckily, it didn't happen. And then obviously they turned around. And as we started getting up watching basketball, around that 92 region, started becoming relevant again. And then obviously got their back-to-backs. His MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, the same year.
And I still stand by this. I'm not sure Jordan wins 4 in a row with the way they struggled against those Houston Rockets teams. And I would have loved to have seen that. So if Jordan doesn't go off and play baseball, they most probably meet the Houston Rockets in the finals. Mate, that 7-game series would be fucking phenomenal. That's the fantasy 7-game series grand final I'd love to watch.
The thing about the Rockets, man, is they were just fucking clutch. Like, they were clutch everywhere. And back in an era where like 3-point shooting wasn't a big thing, they had fucking clutch 3-point shooters. Like Kenny Smith, say what you will about him, but he was a fucking awesome shooter.
Give the Jet his props. I mean, look, limitations in what he couldn't do, but man, he was a great floor general. And plus, when he was on fire, that man could hit him from fucking anywhere.
Mario Ellie, Robert Horry, Sam Cassell. Like, they had dogs and clutch players, man.
What about Mad Max? You can't
Mad
forget
Max.
about Mad Max.
Yeah, man. They were a great team. Great team. And I don't know how the Bulls would have kind of handled them because they had bodies to throw at Jordan too. Nobody's going to stop Jordan.
No.
But I don't know how Pippen would have gone against them.
So if you look at, it depends on which team. So the 94 team is with Otis Thorpe instead of Clyde.
Yep.
And Clyde jumps onto the 95 team after that trade. The 95 team's a bit of a strange team because they finished 6, 7 on their run in, and no one thought they'd get anywhere. And that's when Hakeem plays out of this mind. That team, I'm not so sure, but Clyde was also still just below his peak, but like an excellent Robin to freaking Hakeem's Batman, right?
He was always a Robin, to be fair.
But not on Portland. Portland is the man, surely, right?
That's why they didn't win a title.
I'm going to get these all the fucking time.
He was never a number one. Never a number one.
Never more so proven than the 92 finals. But anyway.
So that 95 team, that was the year that Robinson won MVP and Hakeem destroyed him, right?
Correct.
Yeah. And Shaq finished second in MVP voting that year. But yeah, Hakeem was on a mission to just fucking destroy him. But they didn't look that great. Like they were having trouble integrating Clyde into their team.
Especially to start off with, because don't forget, Otis Thorpe brought defense and rebounding, not a lot of scoring, but he was that allowed Hakeem to do a lot of what he did, right? So getting rid of Otis Thorpe, giving that position to Rob. This is the first time when you saw an NBA team play that 5 out or 4 out, 1 in the middle. Robert Horry's shooting ability allowed that to happen. Was he a rookie then or second year?
92, 93. So that would have been his third year.
Third year, okay. So Robert Horry comes out of his shell, great defensive player, but his shooting just opened up the fucking court for Hakeem to just dominate because no one needed to go near him. They couldn't double team him. They had to cover the shooters, right? Rudy T, fucking awesome coach. He developed that game plan and said to everyone spread out. Hakeem will find you. This is when he started becoming a great passer. And you just gave him the keyway to work with. Who's going to stop him?
So let's just skip forward a bit. Was that the genesis of your love for Houston? Because would you say now that Houston's your team?
Yeah. So that then evolved. Seeing Hakeem.
Right, so let's just talk about your fandom now. Yeah. Teams. You obviously shifted away from Portland.
You can edit this out, right? I'm just on my note.
Fuck it, leave it in.
All right. So, and this is funny because I'm always saying I'm more of a team man than a player. So, and the NBA is geared towards following players instead of teams. But I was very much a Portland man. But when Clyde went across to Houston after that trade, and I looked at that and said, fuck, now these two of my favorite players playing on the same teams, the reuniting of
Slammer
Jammer. And it was like, okay, what can they do? And they start off poorly. We know that everyone looked at them and said they can't fucking do anything. This is always because they're too old, too slow, and other teams had already surpassed them. Seeing those two play together and then seeing them do a couple of things that hadn't been done, a couple of 40-point games where both of them scored 40, and then they run into the finals. And them being able to take out in a couple of clutch series, Charles Barkley in Phoenix. They played Seattle too, I think, on the way through. And then who do they get in the conference finals? Oh, San Antonio. And San Antonio was on the rise then. So we're talking about a very strong San Antonio team, Dave Robinson dominating. And the never say die attitude of a champion, right? So Hakeem at his peak, he's got his Robin now, who was a dominant force still. And then a game plan that just worked and brought in everyone. So you had, rookie Sam Cassell, Vernon Maxwell still doing his thing, Kenny Smith and Robert Horry hitting all those clutch threes, and then Mario Early coming off the bench. That team was a bunch of fucking misfits. They came together and became a champion. How could you not love that?
And that red uniform was pretty sexy, man. Like that old school Houston. I wouldn't mind.
Better than the one with the pinstripes and the rocket. Yeah, that's the plain.
Yeah. I can't handle that one. But yeah, the old just plain block lettering Houston on the front with the
yellow
red.
and the red.
Yeah, it was great. It was great. You need one right here, mate.
It's coming.
Like right there.
It's coming. There's too much green up there. Everyone can agree with that.
So pretty obvious who my favorite team is, right?
Now, here's a question for you. Who's your favorite Celtic of all time?
KG.
Ooh.
KG. I know it wasn't a long time, and I've got the man Larry Bird up there. Obviously, Larry Bird's career was a little bit before our fandom. I mean, he retired in 92, but he wasn't...
Everything you've seen with Larry Legend now, right?
And if you're a true fan of the game or a true fan of a player, you'll go back and consume as much shit as you can. And I've watched so much fucking Larry Bird. I feel like I was there for his career.
Yep.
But Larry Bird is not the reason why I started loving the Celtics.
Oh, do share.
Throughout my NBA fandom, especially my young NBA fandom, I was much more a fan of players rather than teams. Now, as an Aussie guy, right, it's not the same for us as it is for the Americans, right, watching the NBA. They're affiliated geographically with whatever team.
Yeah.
Or maybe they've moved states and they always go back to the state they first grew up in, or whatever the case is. There's at least some kind of geographical tie to a team. In Australia, we don't have that. So for me, unabashedly, I was a player-first guy, and I would follow players, not teams. So my guys back in the early days were, and because I loved rookies and shit.
Yep.
And
the reason why you love it is because you see them from the inception of their career too, right? So you
Yeah.
build that affection with them to say, look, they got drafted, I followed their college career, and now I'm following them all the way
and
through.
it's the anticipation.
What they can do.
It's the not knowing. It's just this vacuum of expectations and hope and just unfulfilled potential. You don't know.
Yeah.
Like, and that's exciting, man. And I've always been a lover of like the new crop of players coming in and just wondering what they're going to do.
Remember collecting your NBA cards?
Oh, bro. Like I say, that all started around that 92 mark as well. And one of the first packs I bought was a hoops pack, and I picked out Alonzo Mourning in the
rookie card.
Well, Magic Johnson had a Magic Soul rookie team series set, and I picked up Mourning, which was obviously the second most expensive next to Shaq. And I kept that card for years and years and years, and we had the trading card places in the city as well. You'd go there and just fucking hang out like an idiot. But I started following like your Shaqs, your Mournings, your Jimmy Jacksons, even like
Jimmy Jackson,
Googs and LaFonso, and it just goes on and on. But when KG came into the league, I was just instantly in love with him. Like, and he wasn't that super intense guy when he first came in. He was 6'11". He was a small forward. They were even playing him
rake thin.
Yeah, even playing him a little bit at shooting guard, and he was like
shooting guard.
Yeah, for a little bit there.
He's quick enough.
I think he was playing for Bill Blair, and then they got rid of him halfway through his rookie season because he wasn't starting. And then halfway through his rookie season, they brought in Flip Saunders, and
that's going to change.
And his vet, who was his vet? Mitchell. Sam Mitchell was his vet, and said to Flip Saunders when he came in, "You got to fucking start this young guy. You got to start him." And then he started the second half of the year, and then just took off.
Yeah, at power forward then.
But his love for the game was just like, he was just so magnetic and effervescent, and being 6'11" with those guard skills, because he was a guard most of his life growing up.
Yeah.
But I just gravitated right toward him, and I bought his Slam magazine when they did, even before he got drafted, Slam magazine did a thing on him from Farragut Academy, and they were talking about how he was going to be the next big thing, because Slam was really cool about featuring high school players.
Yeah, they did the lot of those young guns up and coming, right?
So yeah, when he came into the league, I was just like, bang, this is my guy.
So before him, was it only Moses Malone who came straight out of high school? Like there wasn't many players.
Didn't Spencer Haywood, but I don't want to talk out of turn because I'll sound like a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
But he was definitely the first one
of our era when we started watching.
Yeah, in a long line. He opened the floodgates.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was the 5th pick. And I was just having a look back at his draft today. Obviously, you had Joe Smith went number 1. Antonio McDyess went number 2. Number 3 was Stackhouse. Number 4, Wallace. So it's pretty good
players before.
Pretty good. And Joe Smith was good, man.
He was very good.
And the Joe Smith debacle with the Wolves, fuck, man, that just cost him. That cost him. You know, that Joe Smith fiasco happened. And they lost 5 picks, got 2 back, reinstated 2, but they still lost 3 first-round draft picks and lost Joe Smith. And it's the opportunity cost of not having that salary cap space as well.
Correct.
And that same offseason, he'd lost his best friend on the team, Malik Sealy, to that car accident. So
he needed to get out then after that, didn't he? He couldn't stay there anymore.
So long story short, I've just always followed my players. So it was KG, Kid, Shaq. Never really had a real affiliation for a team until Boston. Like when he went, so in other words, I'd never had a favorite team.
That Minnesota team, Garnett, Marbury, Sprewell. You've got to love that team.
Sprewell was never there with Marbury.
Oh, did they not cross over?
Marbury was only there for 2 seasons.
Yeah, I remember. And then he got jealous about the contract that Garnett got.
Although I listened to an interview with him recently, and he reckons that's all bullshit. He said he said I was very well aware of the salary cap. You know, they physically couldn't pay me. So what was I going to do? Fucking leave my mate? He reckons it was all about Minnesota. He said he just could not live in Minnesota. He said it was too fucking cold.
Yeah, I can understand that.
He didn't know his way around. He had no people there.
And he was a street baller too, so he wanted to be back.
So he reckons purely he just didn't want to play in Minnesota. He reckons it's got nothing to do with KG, nothing to do with jealousy or anything like that.
Well, that's contrary to the common misconception then, yeah.
But that early Minnesota team, because Googs came to Minnesota, I think, in the same season that Marbury was drafted. So he'd played his rookie season. The next season, Marbury got drafted and Googs came over, and then Googs was an all-star in 97.
Yeah. And then, so Marbury left after year 2.
He got traded to New Jersey
When
for
Sprewell
Terrell
arrived?
Brandon.
Oh, Terrell Brandon. Yeah.
Sprewell came, that was way later. He came.
So when did he choke Carlesimo?
Oh, shit. Was that 8?
Marbury was in the league then, surely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Marbury might have even, because Marbury went to New Jersey and then Phoenix. He might have already been 2 stops away from there when the choke happened.
Oh, shit.
So
this is
Sprewell
what happens when
came.
you try to consume so much. It condenses the timeline.
I think, pretty sure Sprewell came around that 2001 with Cassell. They both came the same year.
Yeah, I remember that. So that's why obviously Marbury wasn't there. Okay.
And then they had that good run between like 01, 02 until 04 when he won the MVP. They made the West Finals.
Yep.
But yeah, just love KG. And then when he moved to Boston, like I'd always loved Boston's uniforms, always loved Bird.
Yep.
And back in the day as well, man, because I'd followed so much college ball, and watched heaps of Kentucky, they got Antoine Walker, and I'd watched Paul Pierce in college as well. So I kind of had a bit of an affinity for the Walker Pierce, Tony Delk, Boston team. Walter McCarty came there, so it was like Kentucky fucks everywhere.
Yep.
But then, so I already had like a little bit of an affinity for them. And then when Garnett went there and joined Pierce, and then they got Ray Allen, who I loved from like Seattle and the Bucks days. Funnily enough, Ray Allen traded for Marbury on draft night.
It's always a connection, right?
So yeah, as soon as Garnett got there, I'm like, right, I'm Boston. So that was 98. So I'm a pretty late comer to Boston. I mean, it's been about 16, 17 years now.
Yep.
And to be fair, fucking don't like them now. I mean, they're still my team because now I'm just like,
You don't like the style of play.
Oh man, Missoula, fuck Missoula ball, like fuck it. You talk about 3-point heavy.
Yeah,
I mean,
if you're shooting 50 for 3-pointers in the game, it's fucking ridiculous. I'm sorry.
And Jason Tatum, great post player. Like, why aren't you fucking down there playing in the post? I can't stand it. And you know, Jalen.
How tall is Jason Tatum? 6'9"?
He's got to be 6'9". Fuck. And broad shoulders, great footwork, real good turnaround shot.
Yeah.
Like he should be in the post.
Easily 20 points in the post without even thinking. Easy.
I digress. So apart from Houston, have you ever had any teams that you really gravitate toward?
Look, I love the Charlotte, Lonzo Mourning, Larry Johnson, Muggsy Bogues team just because they were so fucking cool and they played with a bit of edge.
Had that great first round series against Boston, I think 94, 95, when Mourning hit the game, the series clinching shot.
On the keyway, top of the keyway. Yeah. So I love that team and I love Mourning too. And I love Mourning because he was a defensive beast and he didn't see any shot that was anybody going to the keyway that he wasn't going to challenge. And I love that because you get some centers these days that don't challenge it because they don't think they'll get it. He didn't fucking give a fuck. And intense. So you talk about Garnett's intensity. Mourning had a bit of that too. Yeah. So I love that.
Major part of that.
And Larry Johnson in Charlotte is a completely different player to Larry Johnson in New York. You know?
Before the back injuries,
robbed him of his because he was 6'5", 6'6" max,
at
right?
the most.
Motherfucker going up and dunking on everyone, and from his UNLV days all the way to the Charlotte days, and then robbed of his athleticism when he gets the back injury and goes to.
He was
still a good player.
He was 22 and 10. Before the back.
Easy 22 and 10. And he wasn't even shooting a lot of threes. Imagine if he had 3-point, and he could shoot them. I mean, I remember seeing him.
And marketable as fuck.
Oh, yeah. So his personality was very similar to a Shaq, you know, that gold tooth, massive smile, played the game the right way, and didn't have any issue making a fool of himself to, endear himself to the kids and everything.
Playful, charismatic.
Yeah. So love that team. Then I also had an affinity for those hard nut pricks of defensive beasts of a team like your New Yorks and your Knicks. Your Pistons and your Knicks. The reason why I love them is I'm a D guy. I love great defense. I love guys who just put their body on the line, willing to go out there and go to war. So a game wasn't a game unless we got out there and actually intimidated the other team. And we hurt them along the way, so be it. If you're not man enough to stand up, we're going to take you and beat you into submission.
So Mus is a fucking defensive animal. When we played ball, we played for a decade easy on teams together growing up. Mus was that guy, full court press, in your face, screaming at you, doing the John McEnroe at the refs. intense. So I can see why you gravitate towards New York.
Yeah, I figured if my offensive game wasn't that good, I had to bring something else, right? And I appreciate that because you look at those Knicks and Pistons teams, putting aside Isaiah and Joe Dumars is a great defensive player, but they knew where their bread and butter was. If we could beat a team into submission and keep it in the 80s, sometimes 70s, we've got a great chance of winning. If it becomes a track meet and they're running, we're fucked. So the Knicks, the Patrick Ewing, the Anthony Mason, the Charles Oakley Knicks, those hard nut, and with Derek Harper. I love Derek Harper and John Stark's teams. And then obviously your bad boy Pistons with your Mark Aguirre's, Dennis Rodman, Bill Laimbeer, the most unathletic center of all time, but could shoot, and he didn't mind throwing a haymaker when he needed to.
Rebound.
And then Joe Dumars, the quintessential perfect blend between offense and defense. Was probably the closest thing to a Jordan stopper of all time.
Jordan stopper.
And many tried to do and replicate what Joe could, and they couldn't.
And then, at like 6'3", man, he was doing a great job at that height.
And then don't forget Isaiah. Isaiah doesn't get the kudos that he should. He was fucking phenomenal and was a pest on defense.
But that's the power of Jordan.
Yeah.
Jordan shut him out, and he just lost all of his relevance, I think, in the basketball world. But
and I think Isaiah's a bit of a prick, though.
Yeah, but I mean, that's never going to stop me from loving a player.
Yeah, no, 100%.
I think purely like being shut out by Jordan, not being included on the Dream Team in 92, when he absolutely should have been there. You can't tell me that John Stockton's a better player than Isaiah Thomas. Come on, man.
So, I know, I get that.
And Isaiah all-time is a better player than Clyde.
I get that. But don't forget, the Dream Team is built on position too. So his only real competition on whose position he would have taken would have been John Stockton's. Now, John Stockton is the all-time assist leader and most probably, and don't hate me for this, a better passer than Isaiah, right?
Oh, yeah.
So
but don't tell me he's a better player.
No, I don't think so. But I don't think you need a better player. You most probably need the better point guard.
I don't think the Dream Team needed
a point
anything.
Guard. They never fucking called a timeout during the whole freaking Olympic
They could have
tournament.
played Christian Laettner, Shaq, David Robinson, Patrick Ewing, all on the court at the same time. They still would have won by 40.
Yeah, it was probably right.
It wouldn't fucking matter. Oh, that's right. Shaq didn't play.
No, Laettner played.
Fuck. What a fuck up. What an absolute fuck up. That team needed Dominique, Isaiah, and Shaq, and then it would have been undisputably the best team ever assembled.
Who do you leave out for Dominique? Don't say Clyde.
Chris Mullin. Come on, man. What do you mean? Oh, what the fuck?
But I did like Chris. I loved his.
I'm not saying I didn't like him. We're talking about who were the best players to put on that team at that time. You can't tell me Chris Mullin is better than Dominique Wilkins.
So how does he get the nod?
Well, he was averaging like 25 that year. Oh, maybe, hang on. That wasn't the year that Dominique was out with his Achilles, was it?
No, I think it was a bit later than that, wasn't it?
Because he came to play with Boston, I think, in Boston again. Fuck, they're coming up everywhere. But pretty sure he came to Boston in 94. So he might have.
He might have been injured.
He might have.
Okay. That most probably just.
I'm going to go back and look this shit up later.
Yeah. Yeah, look, you know me. I like a well-constructed team. So if I look at that and go, you got Magic as your lead, starting point guard, who's then someone to run the show? Not that you need someone to run the show with the second unit.
I suppose you do want someone just to give it to all the other Hall of Famers, right?
Yeah, and if you got Malone, you kind of say you can't get Malone without Stockton. Those two are inseparable. Look, mate, we could argue that all the time and pick players of that era and everything else. Look, but I do think Isaiah is the biggest snub, and his issues with Jordan. We've all seen The Last Dance and all of those problems. Yeah, Jordan says, persona non grata, you become persona non grata.
You're out. So some other teams I fucking loved in that era growing up. The Nuggets.
Oh, yeah.
The Nuggets. Chris Jackson.
Yeah.
AKA Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf.
100%.
Bryant Stith, he got drafted. He's an off guard, got drafted in the same draft as Shaq. I think he was in that 92-93 draft.
Lonzo Ellis.
LaFonso was the 5th pick in that draft. Who else did we have? Obviously Dikembe. Dikembe. And then over the year, like Denver were just always a cool team, man. They had wicked uniforms. I loved their uniforms.
Even going back to English's days. They were a run and gun team forever. Yeah. They always just ran that same style. I think the high altitude just gave them an advantage, but that team was just built in a certain way, and they just added the players that fit that style.
But I mean, if you look at some of the players they've had roll through over that era.
Robert Pack?
The Pac-Man, Brian Williams, Bison Dele later on.
keep on thinking Antonio McDaniels. It's not Antonio McDaniels. Who's
Antonio
Antonio?
McDyess.
McDyess.
Yeah.
Oh, he was a beast.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Unfortunately, knee injuries robbed him, but yeah, he was a stud.
Oh.
And then we had Rodney Rogers
yeah.
roll through 6'7", bruising, and used to dunk the fuck out of everything.
Yeah.
I mean,
Power dunking too.
and then, of course, they took out Seattle.
Yeah.
I think that
the
was
first time an 8 took out a 1. Yeah. Yeah.
And there's always just that scene of Dikembe on the floor, like crying with the ball up there like that. I mean, that was crazy. That was crazy. And Seattle, apart from their playoff flameouts, just fucking great team.
Yeah.
Like a great team. Didn't they? I'm pretty sure they flamed out a couple of years later against LA in a flipping of seeded teams.
With the Gary Payton and the Sean Kemp. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they continually fluffed it.
Yeah, I do recall that because the only time they made the grand final with those guys was against the Bulls.
Yeah.
And they were not favourites, but they had a pretty legitimate chance against the Bulls.
They had a 60-win team.
Yeah.
And deep.
Yeah, very deep.
Yeah, fucking deep. But they were a great team, great uniforms. I loved Orlando for Shaq. But also, I mean, they had Shaq, Penny, Nick Anderson. Well, they had Skiles for a while.
D. Scott.
Dennis
D3.
Scott. Yeah, man. They had a great team. And the uniforms, man. Like, just
a uniform.
Awesome uniforms. My first ever jersey I ever bought was Tim Hardaway Golden State Warriors. Second one I ever bought, Penny Hardaway, Orlando Magic, black pinstripes.
Penny Hardaway.
We will be talking
about careers.
We will be talking about Penny in a future episode.
Yeah.
Definitely. And they were kind of like my teams. And as I said, I love the expansion teams.
So, and I know this is a whole podcast too. Do you still keep Chris Webber if you had the choice now at that draft? Could Chris and Shaq work together?
Are we just going to talk about like injuries aside?
Yeah, injuries aside.
Injuries aside, but knowing each of their peaks.
Yeah.
I take Penny.
I think I tend to agree, just because it's easier to bundle the one of the best centers of all time with a point guard who could do everything.
But look, to be fair, Weber was more of an elbow kind of high post player.
Yeah.
So they could have run the offense through him up the top and he could have played like a point forward role. Yeah. And I think still could have been 20 plus, 10 plus, 5 plus, while Shaq 8.
Yep.
It could have worked. I'm not saying it wouldn't have worked. I reckon it easily could have worked with how versatile Weber was.
But the shit that Penny was doing.
Dude, he was like Magic Johnson mixed with Tracy McGrady.
Yeah, that's the perfect combination, right?
Yeah, like he was
the shooting, the footwork, the attack on the rim. He was mean to the rim, man.
You remember when he fucking just posterized Patrick Ewing on the break? Like just nuts in the face.
That dunk doesn't get as much love as Pippen's dunk on Patrick Ewing, and it's just as good. It is
maybe
just
better.
As good.
and the call as well. I don't know who the guy on the call was, but he's just like screaming, oh, Penny. Penny hurts me, man.
Yeah.
Because he really only had a 3-year peak.
Yeah.
Once Shaq left for Orlando, for LA, I think in 96, Penny like shouldered the load the following year and still played really well, but then he was just not the same player.
Everyone who had that microfracture knee surgery, no.
Man, in our future episode where we do our top 10 players, spoiler alert, I could not believe when I was doing my research how many fucking players in that era had microfracture surgery.
And they kept on fucking doing it, and it never worked.
Nobody does it anymore.
Oh, because it didn't fucking work.
Man, so many players.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
Like crazy. Oh, my God. But yeah, Penny, he pretty much had a 3-year peak from year 2 to year 4.
Yeah. And the worst thing about it is, whilst that's the peak of his career, there was still so much more for him to do.
Oh, yeah.
So that three year where he was absolutely phenomenal, you project out where his career was going to go for the next 5, and we are talking most probably in the top 10.
Bro, in year 2, just off the top of my head, he was 20 points and 7 assists. First team All-NBA.
Yeah. And the motherfucker played defense too.
I mean, Luka is like one of those guys that made first team All-NBA so young, but your second season in the league, first team All-NBA point guard at 6'7".
Yep.
And yeah, I shudder to think what would have happened to his career. He stayed injury-free.
Injuries, they're fucked.
All right, well, on that downer note, what do you reckon we wrap this up just with a little chat about what we want to do with this pod moving forward?
All right, go.
So during my research of figuring out podcasts and all about it and the technology and the lighting and the fucking background, all this bullshit, 97% of podcasts fail because they only have 3 episodes or less. They're not consistent with it. We're going to do more than 3 episodes. We might even do more than 3 today. So if you see the same fucking t-shirt on, you know that we're still recording.
We do change our clothes every day.
Yeah. Eventually, when they start walking. So this is a passion project of mine. And like I say, I'm a FIFO worker, so I've got a shitload of time to give to this. And it's going to happen. And you're not going to bitch out at me because you've already promised me you're going to keep coming over.
I'm in, bro. Like McFlynn.
And we're going to have a B-grade studio over your place as well to try and get this happening, just make it easier. But there's some very important things that I wanted this podcast to have and to not have. Now, with as much shit as I take in, pod-wise and YouTube-wise, I know what I am and what I'm not, and what we are collectively am and not. We're not insiders.
Nope.
We don't have access to any NBA teams.
Wish I did.
Or players. We're not media credentialed.
Nope.
We're not, I mean, you're an X's and O's guy on our ground level, but
yeah, but I can understand that gets boring for people. But I think there are times when we do need to go there to dissect teams and how they play.
That will most definitely be you guiding me because, I mean, I've been following the league. We've been following the league for around 37 years, and I've never, ever bothered and never wanted to delve too deeply into the strategy of the game. I mean, to me, basketball is exactly the same as any kind of art, music or sculptures or painting. For me, it's all about when I'm watching this product, when I'm watching these athletes, when I'm watching this vision, how does that make me feel? And basketball moves me. So I watch the game and I process the game on that movement feeling level. I'm not an X's and O's guys. So there are guys out there, if you want to listen to X's and O's, like your Nate Duncans and your Zach Lowe's and all that. And by the way, I do love Zach Lowe. But yeah, there are guys out there that are X's and O's guys. And then there are guys that are feelings and narrative guys.
Yep.
So you're going to bring a bit of X's and O's. I'm going to bring a bit of the feelings and narratives.
Yeah, but you appreciate something like the triangle offense.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah. So don't give yourself, discredit yourself from an X and O's perspective. You understand the game at an intimate level and how it's to be played. So to that degree, no, you understand the X's and O's.
But we're not going to have that tone or that leaning.
No, at the end of the day, we've never played at a professional level. We haven't been coached at that sort of professional level. So we're not going to be able to pull it apart, like a defensive set to the point where we totally understand what the whole strategy is. But on that visual aspect of it, I would like to delve into how teams should play and what their talent should actually dictate on their strategy. But that's a different podcast.
Future episode.
100%.
So yeah, we're pretty much just going to be relying on our chemistry, right? Our chemistry as mates, our love of the game, what we're seeing. So I guess I want this pod really to be as if the audience or the guy listening to it on his headphones while he's taking the dog for a walk is in the room with us as one of our mates, just having a yarn.
Yep.
That's essentially, because we're not going to have a lot of research and notes.
We'll be making up shit along the way. Just kidding.
And
we can correct in later episodes. If we say something that's bombastically wrong, we'll come back and correct that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so moving forward, I guess I just want the audience to feel like one of our mates.
Yeah.
And
come into the room with us, have a chat, have a chinwag.
And
Let's share our opinions.
This is basically going to be 2 mates talking ball.
Yeah.
It's not going to be any more complicated than that. We're not going to try and be more verbose than we need to be.
We'll drop an F-bomb whenever it's required.
Oh, this is
probably
explicit.
Quite regularly.
This is going to be fucking explicit. Most definitely.
And we're going to be controversial as fuck. So there'll be times when Clay will take a particular take and I'll take a particular take and we'll go off at each other. We'll still be best mates after that, though.
There'll be a fair bit of hating.
Yeah.
I mean, not on each other.
No. You know my list, and there's a long fucking list of why the game is not the way it should be played and the players that I particularly despise.
And, analysts out there.
Oh, yeah.
I won't be afraid to sort of
get that list going. I want to go after them.
And at the same token, one day, I've already told my wife this, one fucking day, I'm going to talk to Bill Simmons. That
Let's
is my
get him
goal.
on.
That is my goal. I am going to talk to Bill Simmons because he's my guy.
Get him on.
So that's definitely one of my goals.
Yeah.
But obviously, moving forward, we are. The name says it all. Old Head Hoops. We are old heads. Officially, we're old heads. I can't fucking believe it. Like one day you wake up and you're nearly 50. How the fuck did that happen?
Under 50 make you old? I think it does, right?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, okay.
We're fucking old.
Yeah, no, I'm not debating that at all.
We're well over the halfway point, man. When you've been following the league for nearly 4 decades, man, you are officially old.
I think we are.
So the name says it all. Old Head Hoops. We're going to have a real leaning toward retro basketball. Late 80s, 90s, and early 2000s. So
the best era of all time.
Yeah, and look, a lot of that just comes down to normal human biases. We grew up in that era. So
it's always when your formative years, when you fall in love with something.
When you're coming of age, everything around that era is you're going to look at with rose-colored glasses. The music, the fashion, the basketball, all of it.
And one thing I'll always be guilty of, I will compare, and I'm sure you'll do the same, any modern-day player with those that came before.
Great segue.
100%. And one thing that I dislike a lot is the disrespect or the lack of knowledge of the players these days when they look back on, they talk about the plumbers leagues and all that shit. That is fucked. And that makes me angry, and I won't go there because that's a whole other segment. But yes, it does need to be stated.
Yeah. So we will primarily be a retro-based pod. So we will be talking a lot about old players. We'll be doing redrafts. We'll be doing top 10 lists and all kinds of cool shit like that I love to listen to.
Yeah.
I don't get enough of. But make no mistake, we are fans of the NBA.
Yes, 100%.
We're still, we'll have our whinge and our bitch and our moan about the current state of affairs, but I'm still fucking insanely passionate about the NBA.
Yeah.
So we're going to splice a little bit of this, a little bit of that, but obviously with our old man leanings and our old man takes. And we're planning to, in each episode, do a few pretty cool segments. We are going to do a little bit of the Wildcats.
Yep.
I'll be leaning more heavily on Mus because I haven't followed the NBL closely for quite some time, and you've been right into it.
I have.
You've never had a break.
Stopped.
But we'll also do player comparisons.
Mm-hmm. And Aussies. Shout out to the Aussies. Yeah.
We're going to be having a look at the Aussies.
Mm.
So yeah, come and enjoy the journey with us.
100%.
It ain't going to stop.
Hell no.
All right, man. That's it.
All right.
First one done.
Nice work.
Fucking love it, bro. All right, old heads and young heads alike. Thank you very, very much for tuning in with us for another episode of Old Head Hoops. Please, pretty please, help us with the show. Help us spread the word. If you're on video format, please like and subscribe. If you're on audio format, please rate and review wherever you have the opportunity to do so. And word of mouth means a hell of a lot. So tell your family, your friends, your loved ones, anybody who loves hoops, anybody who loves retro hoops, and anybody who loves the weird and wonderful tangents that me and Mus love to go on. So we would also love to hear from you guys. We would love to interact. We would also love to have some mailbag episodes moving forward. So please get in contact with us on our Gmail account, which is all one word, oldheadhoopspod@gmail.com. oldheadhoopspod@gmail.com. We'll definitely respond. And we also have an Instagram account. So we're at oldheadhoopspod. We have an X account, and we're at oldheadhoops. And we have a Facebook page at Old Head Hoops. Just type in Old Head Hoops on any of these socials. You should be able to find us. So thank you very, very much once again, and we will see you next time.